language and humor that is not suitable for viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you. He's not here! He is here! Of course I'm here! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome one all to tonight's Pacific414 Pop Talk, along with Cash Money 007. I am your host, Mike. Baron, he was sent on a mission. I don't know if he's able to complete it, but he was sent out on a mission that I told him to do from his Godfather here on Pop Talk. Whether he succeeds or fails, I'll find out, but he better get it done. Cash Money, I could have sent you on this mission, but I thought Baron was suited for the job.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course, joining us on the panel today, Phil McCracken. Hello, Phil McCracken. How are you? Kiss the ring of the Godfather.
Oh, boy. Can't believe I'm here to voice the opinion of the Rosses to this movie.
Oh, gosh.
And
Phil, this is a great movie, man.
This is a figment of the imagination and a product of Hollywood. This is nowhere, anywhere.
What do you expect? What do you expect, Phil?
Gosh.
Yeah. There are some people.
Everything's the figment of the imagination of Hollywood.
No,
That's how it works.
That actually believe that this is how things are. If their great answer is, I seen it in the movie.
Yeah, well, a lot of things could be made up in movies. I mean, look at movies based on World War II in particular. They exaggerate a few things. They fudge a few things here and there.
Also stuff that is actually based on a true story, not always exactly factual. Yeah. But there are facts in these movies. So
are you sure about that?
Godfather, but
I
don't know. I've never been around an actual mafia family, so
you're not allowed to go in your local pizzeria because you went in there saying, "I watched this on The Godfather."
I've never done that in my life.
Me either, man.
No, Cash Money has. I know Cash Money.
I have never done that either.
I'm in here to get some.
But it's still The Godfather still makes a very interesting movie, Phil. You have to admit that.
It's part of not just pop culture, but it's part of American culture.
Well, I'm glad it's something that you can get good out of it. But yeah, no. It's insulting to some people. Hurts my feelings.
Oh,
I'm such a sentimental guy.
Phil, there's one thing that Cash and I know. You have no feelings.
I resent that remark. If you cut me, do I not bleed? If you hurt me, do I not
God.
cry?
Oh
Gee,
gosh! Now he's quoting Shakespeare.
Mm. But
he is.
this is the reason why Cash Money can't go in anymore into his local pizzeria because he told them don't come in here saying that stuff.
I never do.
Well, tonight we are watching The Godfather, as voted on by many people in last month's poll. After we watched Iron Claw, I put up a poll on YouTube, X, and Discord, and asked which movies should we watch, and The Godfather won. It beat out Goodfellas.
Yeah, we can watch
Uh,
Goodfellas sometime.
I'm waiting
Well,
for you guys to get to pick a great movie. What happened to Patton? Something that makes you want to go out
Ooh,
there and go pick some.
Patton is amazing. I'm not going to say it isn't.
Patton's amazing. I just don't have it available digitally to show for a watch party. I have the DVD, but I don't have it
I
digitally.
think it's free on YouTube.
It might be free on YouTube or Tubi, one of the two. But let's go ahead and get underway with this watch party. If you go into the private chat, Phil, I put the link to Cosme in there, so you can watch it. And I'll hit play here in just a few moments.
All right.
All right. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to turn up the volume loud enough so people can hear it. There we go. There you got the feds.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. Family Guy did a takeoff of this movie. I don't know if you ever saw it, Mike. You saw the takeoff of the Godfather in that Family Guy episode, didn't you, Mike?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. This movie has such a great cast.
It definitely does. I mean, you have, of course, Marlon Brando, James Caan,
James Caan, yep. Robert
Al
Duvall.
Pacino. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Diane Keaton.
Yep. I hear though, from people who have lived in Chicago said like the mafia is still trying to run that place.
That would have been surprising.
Yeah, but I don't know if things have changed or not over there. Hmm.
Hello, Leia Rose.
Yes, hello, Leia. uh,
I'll say one thing: if this movie comes out to the theaters again, I'm gonna
uh,
go watch.
oh, yeah, okay. Just like, it's just funny. It's like a lot of this stuff would be politically incorrect now because people couldn't take it. My feelings, like saying something, I hope my child is going to be masculine.
There'd be a trigger warning if there isn't already
Uh-huh.
on Paramount Plus.
Right. Oh, I'm sure of that.
I already get trigger warnings watching this.
Only you, Phil. Only you.
You shouldn't get any trigger
You
warnings.
know, this
Man.
movie, too, a lot of Italians has not watched for obvious reasons.
I
Are
can
a lot
call
of
BS on that because
come
I've
on,
known a
dude.
few Italian families and they
Yeah.
love this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be the wrong time. That might be the Greek impersonators. There's a lot of them going around.
Oh boy. You're trying to tell me, Phil, that this movie is offensive to a lot of Italians, yet I agree with Mike that Italian families have watched this film and loved it.
I want names and credentials.
Does this movie really offend you, though, Phil, or are you just joking?
In seriousness, some
Yeah,
yes, it's very offensive.
you're actually being serious.
I'll wait to the end. I can call a lot of BS on some of the stuff in this movie that is truly BS.
But it's still just a okay.
No. You have to remember when some people, like I said this before, when they see a movie, they don't realize it's a movie. They think this is how it is. And far
I
from
mean, some people do, I'm sure, but I don't think most people.
didn't you just made a comment about the city of Chicago and the mafia going to try to take over there?
Yeah. Some people are still saying that.
What mafia are you talking about?
I don't know. Some people have said that somebody I actually know who lives in Chicago, when he used to live there, said that the mafia was still running it. I don't know if it's true or not, man. I'm not going to say it is or isn't. But remember, the point of a movie is to be entertaining, Phil. At least it should always be. But
There's some good movies out there, and even on this subject, this is some things I just Even when I first watched it, was hard.
okay. Well, you can feel the way you want to feel, man.
I'll give you an example. They've been going back and forth, even in the closed captions. Are they speaking Sicilian? Or are they speaking Italian? Right? They can't make up their mind.
That's one way to go about it.
They conducted business.
It's crazy to think that people still think intimidation is the way to go, but it doesn't have to be.
Unfortunately, there are those people who use intimidation on people that are weaker than them.
Always.
I know I'm stating the obvious, but
Hmm. I've been on a horse twice in my life. Twice? Yeah. Yeah. It's quite an experience. I would
yeah,
probably
it
ride a
is.
horse again.
Them
I rode a
horses were
horse
trying
as
to
a
pick
kid
you
one
up.
time.
Your chin was too heavy.
No. Hmm. Well, he's sending a message, putting his beloved horse head in the man's bedroom.
Was that the comment that got you banned from the pizzeria?
No, I've never talked about the Godfather in the pizzeria or a pizzeria. Pizzeria. So, what's your favorite Pacino movie, Phil?
Oh, it's another Ross's movie. You can say, what's that one? Oh, what, the cocaine? Scarface. Even though it doesn't have nothing to do with the real Scarface, but yeah.
Scarface, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Scarface is a really good
it wasn't bad. You got to mess with the Italians and the Godfather, but in that one, you got to insult the Cubans. You
Oh
know,
boy. You don't like the Godfather? I mean,
leave it to Phil. Leave
yeah.
it to Phil.
You know. Well, you know, we're supposed to have conversation during these watch parties, so I still say Scarface is a great film, though, Phil.
had some
It
great
definitely
lines. When you remember
is.
lines from a movie, it's a good movie.
Oh yeah, really good movie.
You know, like that famous movie. What does God need with the starship?
Oh God! You
Oh
had to bring up
boy.
Star Trek Five.
Dang it, Phil. uh, hmm.
Now you see, when they're doing something dirty, they got to speak Italian. But when they're doing something nice, it's got to be Sicilian. So yeah.
Uh, I always respect the fact that you're a free thinker, Phil. Even if we don't agree always on stuff.
You don't have to agree, but even if you don't understand Italian or Sicilian, you see it on the closed caption.
Well,
And
I
if
mean,
you
I know you're Italian, so yeah.
but you
I know
have to
you're
remember
yeah.
every dialect in Italian is different, so that's why they switch back and forth from Sicilian to Italian.
Mm.
You know, my mom growing up in New York, told me stories about growing up and going with my great grandmother to produce stands like that. And,
Hmm. Well, it's a power trip for people and stuff, and there are things even in real life, just like gangs and stuff, where people feel I deserve this territory.
well, remember, as far as this is concerned in the movie, Corleone's done things to other families, so they're going to
Right.
retaliate.
Exactly.
He didn't pay for that newspaper.
You kidding? He took it and threw it down on the ground.
Yeah, he did.
And just in case, cash money, that's what they call payphone.
Yes, I know what a payphone is.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Do you know how to operate a payphone?
Yes. I've used a payphone before. Not that old, but I've used a payphone before, yes.
We're
So I
almost
always
48 minutes into the movie, DJ. If
that's
you click on the pin link at the top, the first one's going to be the Cosme link. The second one's going to be the link to join the panel.
that's why I always laugh when people said, "I need my phone. I need my phone." It's like, no, dude, we just had phones in our house growing up. we didn't. We had no cell phones.
Phones in the house with the long cord, and
That's right. And we survived.
cool beans, brother.
Might I add, what a waste of good fish.
Gotta send a message
You
anyway.
kidding? All they have to do is fillet it and cook it up.
Yeah, that's a good point. The cannoli.
Let that be a lesson to you, Cash. Wash your hands.
It's always good to wash your hands, man.
Hey, Mikey, some girl's calling you.
What is that sacrilege I just seen? Was he using canned tomatoes to make tomato sauce? What blasphemy is this movie?
Uh,
Yes, I did see it. Canned tomatoes.
yeah.
Uh, and the absolute horror of tomato paste going into tomato sauce.
Uh,
Okay, the wine's okay.
Leave it to Phil to find everything offensive.
The wine's okay. The wine's okay, but you don't put tomato paste in tomato sauce. And definitely not.
Well, the Corleones in this movie do.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have done it in real life.
It's a movie, Phil.
They would have had some Italian grandmother crush some actual tomatoes to make some good tomato sauce.
Oh man. Uh, Phil's worse than honest trailers.
Hey. My dear sweet mom is 80 some years old, and she makes it crushing her own tomatoes.
No, that's good, man. It is.
Though I will say, in the modern world, it's better than. I'm glad they didn't use jar sauce. I would have had a heart attack.
Okay. Well, we can't have that, Phil.
Nope.
So in this day and age, in 2024, I guess you can say it's okay to use crushed tomatoes from the store. That's okay. But the tomato paste, no, no.
No.
DJ, if you want to join us on the panel, the link's pinned to the top.
Yeah, join us, DJ. Well, do you like the music in this movie, Phil?
Well, that's okay. I wouldn't say it's authentic Italian music now, but it's okay. It's a good implication, let's just call it Italian-ish.
It's cinematic music, Phil. That's what
Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
It's okay. It ain't real an Italian movie. And if you don't sing "O Solo Mio," man, what can I tell you?
Oh boy! All right.
And remember, that's a great hit because even Elvis did a cover of it.
I still don't know if I want to watch that newest Elvis movie, but I heard the actor who plays Elvis is quite good. Austin Butler is it? I think his name is.
Yeah, he was in the Mighty Eighth miniseries that aired on Apple TV Plus last year, and he
Okay.
was also in Bike Riders, which is actually available to purchase now.
Yeah, I think it's almost on cable now. So.
I will say in that scene that was half right. You have a nice statue of the Blessed Virgin, but normally they would put above them. They would probably put a rosary bead on top of there. There would be more rosary beads than there would be the statue.
Hmm.
Another thing is they would actually go to a Catholic hospital more than to a general hospital. So it would have been a nun, not an actual nurse.
Hmm.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. Even with the flowers, it's like you got to be suspicious.
Think about it. You got to be suspicious about everything that's being delivered to the room. Everyone coming into the room.
I'm not a cop, but I believe even a victim of a shootout, they would always have a cop stationed in front of the door, if I remember correctly. So no one goes back and finishes the job.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure they would.
Is that a Carradine I see? An actor? His brother? David Carradine's brother?
I'm not sure.
I'll check IMDb.
Yeah, no, that's not him. He looks closely. Almost looks like David Carradine's brother. He was a popular actor at that time.
Smart. Make them look like that. Yeah.
I will say it's great to see that they're using handguns. They're not typically using that Tommy
What?
guns.
Tommy guns? No.
Yeah, normally you see a movie to this style, the Tommy guns pop out, but that
Sure.
wasn't always the case.
No. So, I just and we see what happens when, of course, police aren't around. And then, of course, I still believe even in real life there are some definitely dirty cops, but I think it's unfair to say that every police officer is dirty.
Back in the day, you pay them some money, depending on what type of business you're into.
Oh, I'm sure of that,
Turn the
dude.
blind eye.
Mm-hmm.
You watch a lot of bar rescue. Every
Yeah.
year someone's supposed to go in there to check the cleanliness of the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them bars, man, you mean to tell me within a year they were that dirty?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got an greasing the palm has always been a thing, no matter where you are.
Yeah. They probably made them dirtier, just like they made those characters or the people in the bar be more upset about things when they probably aren't. But they do actually help those bars, and if they listen to Tapper, then their bar will probably succeed. So, as you know,
That's
some of
it.
those
That's if
bars are
they
closed
listen.
down. If
Same
they
with Gordon
listen,
Ramsay going into
right?
the restaurants and trying to help them turn the
You know,
table, turn the tide, and it's up to them to actually take his advice to heart or continue doing what they're doing and lose their business.
Exactly. I always laugh because when my dad watches films like this or has in the past, he's like, some of these movies can be so violent. I'm like, now, no, hold on a minute. But you like Kill Bill Volume 1 and you watch that over and over again when it's on. And, you know,
When you have a movie that's based upon the underworld,
hmm
yeah, it's going to be violent. It
yeah.
doesn't matter if they're Italian or Chinese or
Oh, of
whatever.
course. Yeah.
Why, you don't think the Chinese have something similar to this?
Right, exactly. I just find it funny because, of course, how violent Kill Bill is, and it is quite violent. Both of them are, but um, it's just funny to me when my dad's always has said that this movie's so violent. It's like, yeah, but you watch Kill Bill how many times?
I'm sure your dad watched Saving Private Ryan, right?
He did. He did.
Okay, was that's violence on
It is.
scale to 10, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
It's just funny as all that he feels that way, and then he watches Kill Bill how many times? You know what? Actually, bringing that up, Mike, what is the most violent movie you think you've ever watched in your life?
Hmm. American Gangster was pretty violent.
Oh, yes, it
One,
was. Absolutely. And that's based on a true story, so, yeah.
yep.
Yeah, that was on recently, actually.
And hello to DJ Renix. How are you doing today? If you want to watch the movie, the link for the movie is pinned to the top. It's the first link, while the second link is the link to join us in StreamYard.
Mhm.
By the way, Cash, what's sitting on his desk, that's called a typewriter.
Yeah, I used one. I
I had
remember
to
that.
use one in my junior high typing class.
We were still using one in the '90s, man, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it wasn't an electronic typewriter either. It was a typewriter like that.
It's awful funny that people don't realize that your keyboard
Mhm.
is
It
almost
is.
identical to the keys set up on a
Oh, yeah.
typewriter.
It is. Oh, that's true, man. As I said, a lot of it makes me laugh because I just a lot of these people were obsessed with their cell phones. I don't know if they could take using a typewriter, using older computers, or even something that was just like green, like an Apple II, or
And you want to know something? I bet even though it's been a while since I've had to change a ribbon on an old fashioned typewriter, I bet I could still do it.
yeah, I'm sure you could.
Notice the importance of having the image of a saint somewhere in every room,
Mm-hmm.
even in this little, whatever you want to call it, storage area.
Yeah, storage area is good. Yeah.
Look at his nice little tools all around there, even the oil can.
Mm-hmm. Details are always important in any movie, or they should be.
And here's my criticism: they show people eating Chinese food. How many times you see them eating pasta? Come on now. I will say, you will not see egg rolls made that big. Nope.
You don't. Even at the restaurant I go to, they're not
They
that
started
big.
to shrink. They're about a
Yeah,
third of the
I
size.
know they are. Yeah, the egg rolls are smaller now. It's something.
You look at that egg roll, man. That's taking up almost a quarter of the plate there.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: I remember as a kid going to a mall and eating Chinese food at the food court, and then the neighboring table is a Chinese family, and they're eating pizza. Culture
Mm-hmm.
exchange right there, live in front of you.
Well, a lot of people like pizza. So. Not everybody, though. I don't think everybody in the world likes pizza, but a lot of people do.
You're not a human if you don't like pizza. And what makes me really sad is seeing bottled soda, out glass bottles, not plastic, not can, when soda really tastes good coming out of a bottle.
Yeah.
It did. It really did. I mean, just check. Even in the 80s, you were still able to buy Coke and Pepsi in the bottles.
Yes.
We would get the case of 24 in a wooden little box thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you drink them all, you hand them back to give you a nickel discount to your next purchase of 24, whatever bottles of soda.
Yep. That's why I would say 5 cents.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it doesn't taste right. To me, if I ever had the opportunity to get it in a glass bottle, can and plastic, it just doesn't taste right.
Well, another thing when it comes to soda nowadays is they don't use real sugar.
So anytime I see the Pepsi throwback when it says real sugar on it, I do snag it. Pepsi
Yeah.
or the Mountain Dew.
Yeah. I mean, at least here in the States, you can't get it with the real sugar unless they do a special release. But if you go down to Mexico, you can get Coke with real sugar in it.
And you can taste the difference between sugar
Oh,
and
yeah.
corn syrup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a big difference.
In today's world, somebody needs to take a razor to his back, man, or a weed eater.
Back then, they didn't care.
Doesn't matter.
Or even up
This is
into
if
the
you're.
80s, the Tom Selleck hair, body hair.
Yeah,
Nowadays,
that's
nowadays
same with
razor.
Harrison Ford. Yeah, back in the day. But it's just when you're too hairy. That's the problem. If you're too hairy, you should probably take a razor to
Yes,
yourself.
that guy right there. That's Harry. That's weed eater.
I don't think so. I've seen worse.
I would say also in this movie, you do see some authentic white walls on them tires.
Hmm.
That is one thing I would like to do one day is actually be able to drive one of these classic cars.
Be cool.
I do admire what it was first Dodge and then Ford and then Chevy followed was take a modern version of an old model Mustang or Camaro, and it's not it's not made the same, but they shaped it the same. So like in the 20s, the last 20 years, the Camaros look like the Camaros from the 60s. The Mustangs look like from the Mustangs from the 60s. You know, I think it looks great. But some of them in between the 70s and the 2000s, oh, them Camaros look nasty. Didn't like the way they look. Not even the like a 80s version of Mustang. Nasty.
Yeah, when I lived in California, I had a neighbor who actually restored a classic Mustang,
Nice.
and he took very good care of it.
I always find it funny. I mean, it's personal taste, but I always find it funny people wanted to even be in a Fiat, like just a box. Like I don't know. I don't really understand that.
You're spreading more racism. Now you got
Eh,
to talk about Italian cars, right? It's bad enough you're showing, yeah,
I'm serious. It's just a
Fiats are
box.
some good cars, man. I like Fiats.
I just I, I would think a lot of people would want to be in a car that at least has a nice design, not a box. I don't know how popular Fiats still are or not. There used to be commercials all the time for them here, even, but I haven't seen that in the last few years, so I don't know.
You didn't like the Volkswagen Beetle, didn't you?
It was okay. It's not a terrible
That's a
design.
classic car. That car, even the car the Volkswagen Beetle made today, is still styled with the bubble.
Yeah, it's not a
I
it's not a
mean, people
terrible
people will
design.
take the classic Volkswagen Beetle and make them into buggies so they can go out
Hmm.
on to the desert and
You know,
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, makes sense.
Cash Money doesn't like the fact that Volkswagen, especially the Beetle, the motor is in the back of the car, the trunk is in the front. That breaks Cash Money. He can't comprehend that.
No, not at all.
same with a
I
Ferrari,
just I just
same with
like a
the
nice
DeLorean when
design.
that came out.
You know,
Yeah, like I
and
think the Mustang is still a nice
and,
design.
and don't forget, Cash. The original Mystery Machine was a Volkswagen van.
Hmm. That's cool. Yeah.
And I will say this: they wouldn't have a meeting like this at a restaurant. If two Italian organized crime families to want to be safe, you meet at a church or cemetery, holy ground. That way, they're bound not to commit violence there. You know, much as they might enjoy eating at what's this Jack Dempsey's restaurant, it's not holy ground. Rules and etiquette has to be followed, even when you're breaking rules.
You want to play the more clip, Mike, or should I?
And see, if you listen to me, you would not get banned from your local pizzeria.
Oh boy, here we go again. Yeah.
Either he was searched or he was being violated.
He got searched. That's what they did. Oh my gosh, they had to frisk us at our high school graduation. That was weird. You guys probably didn't have to go through that stuff.
I'm grateful I didn't.
We had some very interesting things happen in high school, but I don't remember, anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually used one of those before.
Old time toilet.
And this was the era before fingerprints. Oh, look, some real authentic mobster hits.
Yes.
Yep.
And then an image of absolute horror that will scar children for life. Seeing that image of that person on that bed.
Oh my god.
Now I feel better. They put a crucifix above his bed. I feel better now.
I'm glad.
I see more suspenders in this movie than I do on the TV show The Waltons.
Oh my god. Uh,
Hey, I come from a big Italian family. You know, on Sunday you go to church, you put your suit on. I ain't know anybody in my family that had suspenders. No.
I've seen pictures of both my grandfathers wearing suspenders.
No, I see them wear watches, pocket watches, the little hankies in their little pocket, but, suspenders. Now, I did have an uncle that was from West Virginia. He wore suspenders. Okay. They're in Sicily. They're going to speak Sicilian. They're not going to speak Italian. There's a difference.
Take that complaint to Scorsese.
exactly.
Oh, if I ever had a conversation with that man. You guys did notice the poster for the Communist Italian
I see
Party?
it. Yeah.
Yep. Well, also think about the period of time this is taking place in.
Yes, exactly.
I was in Italy in 1984, and I could tell you them posters do exist. It was not unheard of to seeing one political party have one building putting posters up, and you pass another building in some other party. And you have to remember in Italy, like the United States, there's like about 20 different parties. Just a little hint why that guy told him that. Because back in that time, even what's that, 60 years ago, let's just say people were still being arranged. You can't just go make a move on a woman because you get her family, the family where the arrangement's being with, and probably everybody else in the community wanting you dead. He said that bad word. He said Greek. Just for the people like Cash Money out there, Italians are also known for making great sports cars. Look at the beautiful
I know
shotgun.
that, dude.
The beautiful shotgun made out of nice Italian wood.
I'm not surprised, dude. Hmm.
Really, with the suspenders? Hey, Cash, that car, that's a Fiat. That's a Fiat, Cash.
Well, what about the Fiat with the box, man? That's the one I don't like. It's just a stupid design, in my opinion. I like that design. I do not like the box design of the Fiat.
If you notice in other movies like The Quiet Man, when you go back in the day when you went out, you were chaperoned. Didn't matter what country you're from in Europe, they all did the same thing. Chaperone. That means they would have somebody watching Cash Money every movie he made,
Oh boy,
every take he did. They'd be watching him like a hawk.
Be watching you, Phil. They'd be able to trust me. They wouldn't be able to trust you.
I don't know. That chin can get in the way.
I don't think so. My beautiful chin.
Do you see the dirty looks some old Italian women are giving him? They know what he's up to. Now, see, that's the suit I expect Cash Money to wear. Bright orange.
No.
Now, see, now justice is going to be done for wearing a bright orange suit like that. You won't be wearing no more orange suits like that anymore.
Oh,
He won't be hitting Sonny's sister again.
that's right.
Now you see the difference between weddings with his sister's wedding and his wedding. This one looks more authentic Italian than the other one.
I get that.
There's no church scene. It's immediately married and they're at a, what you want to call a reception.
Mm.
Cover your eyes, Cash.
Ew. We know some people actually in the group that would probably get weird about some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it wouldn't be weird for Cash Money to be in an orange suit, though.
Ugh, please. Hmm. Well. Yeah. Hmm.
You know, between Marlon Brando, Robert Duvall,
Yes. Yes.
and James Caan, of course, Al Pacino, Diane
Keep
Keaton.
Diane Keaton. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, like you said earlier, Cash, everybody's good in this movie.
Oh yeah. Well, they've acted for a long time. I mean, look at how good Diane Keaton was in that Woody Allen film. Really, I think that's one of his best movies, if not his best film that he's ever done. But
That's one of the smallest baby bumps I ever seen. And I have seen 3 of them in my lifetime. That is quite small. Sacrilege, don't destroy the bread.
Oh man. Oh boy.
Well, he's a dead man.
Yep. Hmm.
Coming up is probably one of the most graphic scenes. I wouldn't say the most graphic scene of all time, but it's also an iconic scene of the movie.
Oh.
Oh, we lost Cash. The hit was on Sonny, not him.
Someone said unplug.
I'll be right back, bro.
Okay.
I'm back, Phil. Good to see you, Tim.
Not sure what happened there. That was weird.
The hit was on Sonny. It wasn't on you.
It was. It's something went wrong with StreamYard. It like crashed. Has that happened to you before?
Yes.
That's
It's
crazy.
happened when I've been trying to set up a stream.
Mm-hmm. I was just saying before StreamYard interrupted me that you saw that look and you're like, oh crap. Yeah. Something bad's gonna happen right there.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I wish we could get more of is the mystery again in films.
Yeah, he's back.
That's right, Phil. Here to terrorize you. Not really. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you about what happened to my other wife.
It's called playing the game, Cash.
Yes, I know. I know all about it.
You Don Juan, you.
What about
Think about all the hotels and casinos that were there when this movie was filmed that aren't there now.
no.
That's the town the mafia built.
That
And the
is
money
true.
they used was union money. They didn't even use their money. They robbed the unions like United Auto Workers, Teamsters. The retirement money is what they used to build. Now it's all owned by, I don't know what you want to call them. Hollywood, I guess. Hollywood
Yeah.
owns Las
You
Vegas
guys
now.
you guys seen the movie Bugsy, right? I don't know how many of these
Oh, just mentioned
been a while.
there's Cash Money's other suit, the bright yellow.
No. That's a suit you're going to wear, dude. I'm sure of it.
No.
Yeah, never wore an orange or yellow suit in my life.
And Tim's right. All those acts are no longer with us that you see on those marquees.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, Las Vegas is one of the few cities in the world that doesn't have a river. Most cities are built near a river, but not Las Vegas.
Well, what do you guys think about this? I'm always interested in this answer from people. You guys think that if you're going to go gamble anywhere, that you go to Vegas? Do you think it's weird to actually gamble in your own state instead of going to Vegas?
Well, I'm close
Anytime
to New
I've
Jersey.
gambled, I've only done it in Vegas.
Me too. Me too.
I did most of for me, New Jersey's closer. And I only been to Atlantic City one time. And that was enough for me. I'm not a gambler. Sorry.
No, I'm not a big
Odds
gambler.
are always in favor of the house. Most
Yes.
people will tell you the best chances you have would be blackjack.
Mm-hmm.
But even there, if you're caught counting cards, you're kicked out.
Well, of course.
But if
as you
their
should.
dealer, if the house dealer, you better believe they're counting cards. You know, they don't change dealers for no reason. When you see a dealer get changed at a casino, it's because
they're
losing
expecting that
too
somebody's
much.
cheating.
You know?
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even the slot machines, everything's rigged. Look, even if you do hit, let's say you got lucky. I don't care what you're playing, blackjack, the slot
Sure.
machine.
Yeah.
You win $500. Common sense will tell you that's it. Stop. Walk away.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, people are not walking away. That money's going right back into the whatever the gambling they're doing that day. I've seen at Atlantic City, the slot machine will accept a Social Security check from back in the day. You could put your Social Security check into the slot machine. So some of these old people are gambling their monthly Social Security check, $1,000, maybe $2,000, like it's nothing.
I know.
And
Yeah.
I went
They're
there.
usu-
I went there with $100. That's not counting. I took a bus there. The bus gave you a $10 gift certificate and a free dinner. So, didn't have to pay for dinner. Dinner was free, and they gave you $10 towards any gambling you were doing. And I took $100, and I said, once that $100 gone, good or ill, that's it. I'm done. And I stuck to my word. I didn't spend no more than $100. Now,
That's
that didn't
good.
mean how I didn't carry more money with me. Just that was the amount I was going to spend and use, and that was it. But Las Vegas, made mafia a lot of money up until like I would say the 90s is when they start breaking it up. And then it became the studios from Hollywood start buying up MGM and all that crew. So you see the old mafia casinos were torn down, and now it's more flashier than what it was.
Yeah.
And now they're getting ready to do demolition on the Tropicana to build the A's a baseball field.
Crazy.
But that won't do them any good. They still will be selling and trading their players for cash and soda.
Crazy.
The one thing I would tell you, somebody like back in the day, Elvis, Tom Jones, these people made millions, not touring anymore, just going to do shows at these casinos.
Yeah,
They would have made
have
a lot more money
residencies
today.
Yeah.
You spend 6 months at a casino doing a live show. You make more money than you do 2 years of touring the world.
Mm.
But like I said, it's a shame that, embezzled union money was used by the mob to build, do all this out there in Las Vegas, and the union didn't gain anything. You know, you would think, somehow, some way, something would have been trickled down to the union since it was their money, but no. So, do you guys think that's actually wine in their little bottles, glasses there, or do you think that's cranberry juice?
I
I
don't.
think it's cranberry.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't
I'm
think it's
going with
real wine.
cranberry juice.
Yeah, I don't think
I
it's
don't
real.
see no bubbles. Wine, even though it's alcohol and everything, it does tend to have a little bit of bubbles when poured.
Mm-hmm.
It looks flat like cranberry juice.
Huh.
Plus, after 50 takes, I doubt the person be able to perform and act being
Of course.
intoxicated.
Tired.
Okay, I'm gonna say this one. Calling as an Italian your dad Pop didn't fly. You never call your dad Pop. That's not an Italian thing.
It's not an Italian thing, Phil, but it's a movie thing.
Exactly.
And give them credit. Even back in the early '70s, they were still able to do makeup effects to make Marlon Brando here look older than he actually was.
Yeah, well, it's better than the crap of that CGI stuff, man. You actually see, good makeup. They've become more obsessed with CGI. Even what happened before, Mike. And so we don't see as good makeup anymore. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Good makeup should always be important in any movie or production of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Tomato plants. Now, see, that's something I can picture. A little fruit, a little glass of a bottle of wine, some grapes, and make the little boy spray the plants. Look at the horror in the young Cash Money's face.
No way.
Unfortunately, Phil, Cash was aboard in at least 1970. You gotta wait a few years.
Yeah.
No, my brother was born in 72. So.
Still a youngin'.
Hmm.
Boy's crying because he landed on the tomato plants.
Hmm.
Good evening, Lady Mist.
Hello.
You notice, Cash Money, there are no orange suits in this scene.
I would hope not. Yes, Tim, it is.
Hopefully, he gets a wax shop.
Hmm. It's only business. Uh-huh. Remember, Mike, it was only business.
Remember, Cash, it's only business.
Just remember, Cash, it's never good when you're put in the back seat of the car.
Of course not, man. I agree. Hmm. Where's Johnny Tight Lips when we need him, Mike? I say nothing.
Johnny Tight Lips ain't around no more.
Yeah.
Johnny Tight Lips became Johnny Loose Lips. That's why he ain't around.
Yeah. Carlo,
You remember what I told you about the back seat?
yeah. No. What do you think, Mike? Did he deserve it? Did Carlo deserve what he got?
Of course he did.
Yeah.
You messed with the family. That's the last straw.
I mean, obviously Carlo is pretty much a piece of garbage, but no.
Well, I guess you can say she was lied to.
Yep. Just lied right to her face.
Yep. But don't worry, it was just business.
It was just business. Yeah. Really good movie, though.
It it still holds up as one of the best movies of all time.
Really good acting.
Real good cast.
Yes.
Racist. Racist.
According to some members of the panel.
Yes, of course, man. Well, Phil's gonna be Phil, so.
That he is.
I would always
And
rather him be
Baron, if you
himself.
watch this on a replay, I'm gonna give you a hard time Sunday.
Of course, that's what we do. When one of us isn't here,
we give that person a hard time.
that's right.
Well, I will say it was better than that disaster that was 2 Wednesdays.
Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. This nonsense again. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the movie
Okay.
itself. And
That's fine, dude.
that's right, Baron and Tug. You were not here for our watch party. Why were you not here? What have I done to earn your disrespect?
But yeah, all these watch parties that we've done so far, like I've enjoyed all these films, and I'm glad I've been able to suggest stuff like Dodgeball, and because Baron had never saw it, and so Baron never got to see it.
Wait. Baron never saw Dodgeball?
No, not until
he had never
recently,
seen
no.
Dodgeball until we had it for a watch party.
Mhm.
Well, this is the first time in about 25 years of watching The Godfather. Probably be another 50 years before I watch another.
Well, a lot of things that happen in this movie, they wouldn't have the balls to do something like this.
They'd be too afraid to do it.
Scorsese will, but that's Scorsese.
I have my own reasons. What hurts me is that an Italian decided to make a movie to the stereotypes that Hollywood has already created. So it's hard to counter that,
But it's still just a movie, Phil. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, but how many times you hear from somebody that says,
factual.
Well, it has to be true. I saw it on the movie.
Well,
Well, I always give this piece of advice. You have to be able to separate what you see in the movie from real life.
Right.
Like I said, man, I'm not for. I'm pretty darn close to where the certain organization, was very big at the time. Back, I would say, from 1890 to about 1950 or 60, the heyday. There were reasons this organization existed, which was not implied into the movie. But other people from different nationalities had their own. There's a reason why there's a Little Italy in every major city in the Northeast. I would even say maybe in the Southeast a little bit, but Northeast majority. And you have Little Italy. That's where the Italians, when they came over, that's where they gathered. That's where they started. So then you needed an organization like this certain group of people. You need protection. Because guess what? The Irish community over in the next 5 or 6, 7 or 8 blocks away, they have their thing. So if you hired a plumber, you don't want an Italian plumber going into an Irish neighborhood. That wouldn't be kosher. Same thing for like the Polish neighborhood. You have to remember at the time, and mind you, they're all Catholic, but at the time, it wasn't kosher. You didn't get together. You didn't gather together. Believe it or not, it wasn't until like the 50s or 60s could you ever imagine an Irishman being with an Italian or a Polish be with an Italian or any combination. You tend to stick to your own. And as time goes on, things changed. How many? I can say this because I'm full-blooded Italian, but how many really full-blooded Italians today could even say, I can become a made man? Not many.
That could be a future watch party too. Caligula.
Oh
Caligula?
God, not Caligula.
I'm,
Sponsored
I'm
wasn't
saying
that
I'm
made?
saying it could be. I'm not saying
Wasn't
it's
that
definite.
made by Penthouse or Playboy? One of them two. Yeah, Caligula. I see a
But
theme here. We got a Caligula. You got a little thing. Is this like an anti-Italian thing going on here? What's going on?
quiet, Phil, because I think you might enjoy what's going to be our watch party for next month on September 8th.
I've done far worse than kill you. I've hurt you. And I wish to go on hurting you. I shall leave you as you left me. Marooned for all eternity. Buried alive. Buried alive. Sean!
Would
Definitely,
have
I'd
been better if
probably
it was
say
Star Trek 5, but yeah, I do like Ricardo Montalban.
Wrath of Khan
Great
is
actor. And he's
probably
not
say,
Mexican. He is Spanish.
yeah,
Even
I
though
would.
he grew up in Mexico, his family and him was born in Spain.
I think Wrath of Khan is probably my all-time favorite Star Trek film. I think it is.
Buried alive.
Yeah.
Well, I like Wrath of Khan, then I like Undiscovered Country and
Yes, that's a very good one too. And Star Trek
Voyage
4 is
Home.
very good.
Yep.
Very good films.
Star Trek 5
Star
has
Trek
those
3 is
remembered
still good.
comments that you can, quotes than any of them.
Still think Motion Picture's a good film. I can
No,
watch
on what planet?
Well,
On what planet?
I
one thing
like Motion Picture, man.
I was originally thinking for the September 8th watch party. I was originally thinking of Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3, and Star Trek 4 because they are a trilogy. One story follows another and another, with them being connected. But then I thought, that might be too much to ask of people to stick around for almost 7 hours of watching those movies.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. That
It's a lot.
I do have a recommendation for you to add to your watch party someday. That is Patton.
Yeah, I would be up for watching
I
that.
wouldn't be against Patton. Great movie.
Patton, Gladiator. I think both the first two Aliens movie would be great for a watch party.
Now, can't watch Aliens because certain individuals said that was too much.
Well, I have Aliens and Alien
Nice.
3, Alien Resurrection.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna go see Alien Romulus this Friday. I don't know if it's gonna be good. I don't know if it's gonna be bad.
I mean, the guy who he is the one who did it, the director, he is a fan of Alien Isolation, which is a really good Alien game, so really good horror game. So that gives me hope, but I don't think I want to see that movie in the theater. I think I'll just wait. I haven't watched an Alien movie or an Alien vs Predator or whatever, and I don't know. I think
The last one I watched was Prometheus, and I fell asleep.
I didn't mind Prometheus.
That should tell you what I thought of it.
Yeah. I don't remember Prometheus all that much, but I remember I didn't hate that movie. But it's definitely not one of my favorites.
I'm one of them people. After you get so many going, it just gets. It's like what's that one? Fast and the Furious. Please end it. Please just end it.
Well, like I said, the reason that people still watch this movie, including me, is because you got Toretto in it still. If he wasn't in it, I don't think it would be as popular. But yes, if it gets crazier with the stunts because it makes they get ridiculous. Like there is still a story in there about family, but if they did end it, then they end it. It's okay.
Hollywood, you got to stick to. I prefer one and done movies. I really
Well,
do.
some of this stuff needs to be one and done. I mean, we never needed a Caddyshack 2. We didn't need an airplane.
God
2,
bless Caddyshack too. Thank you for bringing that
but
up.
stuff like
Oh gosh, you can
no,
have a Caddyshack too,
yeah,
as far as I'm
exactly.
concerned.
That's
Watch
right.
party. I can get about 5 to
No,
20 people
no,
just to watch
no.
that.
No, you kidding? If I had a watch party of Caddyshack 2, people would be like,
Uh,
"See you later, Pacific."
yeah, that movie is bad.
I can name about 5 people right off the top of my head ready to watch it if I'd ever do it.
That movie is definitely bad.
But nah, man. I mean, Godfather should have ended after the first one. I'm not crazy about the second, and definitely not the third.
I could watch the third, but it's not one I really get that all invested in.
Well, when these movies make money, they become a trilogy, or they can. It depends
Wasn't
on the film,
intended.
but
It wasn't.
well, I
intended.
mean, you have to ask, like, who wanted a Gladiator 2? Really, I would love to see
I
all
did
these
it. I
people
did
that
it.
wanted it. The
Gladiator's
way it
perfect on
ended
its
was
own.
fine. Yeah, it never needed a sequel.
Well, I would say more now than in the past. The main reason Hollywood wants prequels and sequels and all this because they have no ideas.
A lot of them don't anymore.
They don't have no
They're
ideas.
they're still afraid to fail, and
Right.
they feel like they play it safe usually, or they go in another direction. That's why I hope Pixar, after the success of Inside Out 2, that they are like, let's keep going in this direction. Then they'll make a lot of money. So,
I'll be honest. I would have been happy if there wasn't another Top Gun. I would have
it
been
would have
happy
been
with just the
fine, but
original, and that's it.
I was perfectly
I was fine with that.
idea
Yeah.
as well. And then I
Mhm.
saw Top Gun Maverick, and
Yeah, I liked Maverick
I
a
mean,
lot.
are
More
they
than I
are they
expected.
going to do Tombstone too? I hope
No,
to God
hell
not.
no.
Oh,
I would hope
God.
not. Gosh, that'd be
No.
horrible.
I mean, how
No.
could you do it? White in his
Yeah,
golden years?
Mm.
exactly right.
It's like I
Yeah.
said. Sometimes I mean I can understand like a show like a Game of Thrones going back to a sequel style for their new
Sure.
series. That's okay. I can understand that because they skipped over books, But like I said, Hollywood today is like, oh, I can't create and I can't come up with a legitimate, real idea.
I
So
can't create,
let's
so I'm going to destroy.
Yeah, no,
let's
there's
do
only a
another
few.
movie of the Fantastic Four. What is it now? Going to be our fourth version of the
Fourth or
Fantastic?
fifth. Yeah,
Yeah.
fourth or fifth. Yeah. Yeah, that they're this time it's gonna a different time period. I don't know. They
Yeah,
just
this
keep
time it's
doing
supposed
this
to take
stuff.
place in the
Mhm.
1960s, from what's been told.
And I hate to tell people, but Pedro Pascal does not look like geez, I'm trying
No,
to think of the
he
character.
doesn't look like Reed.
Reed, that's it. Reed's, yeah. Something.
I'm not a. I personally forget his personal beliefs. I don't like his acting. I'm sorry, I don't.
Pedro Pascal?
Yes, and as much as he cries about the Mandalorian, pretty much he was only doing voice acting. He probably wasn't ever on set, only for when they had to take the helmet off, and he was crying about that. So,
Yeah, I mean that's true. Yeah.
and they could have put an unknown Joe in that suit and removing the helmet, and wouldn't been a problem.
Well, they put John Wayne's son in that suit, Pilgrim.
Yep. But like I said, Godfather is okay. There's some issues that I have with the movie.
I'm shocked. You having issues with the movie?
They'll have
Don't make no
issues.
sense.
What?
It's a
Come on,
Sicilian
man.
family. The Sicilian family. They're talking in Italy, granted, but if you go to Sicily, they're going to be speaking Sicilian, not Italian. See, so you got to understand. There's 23 dialects over there, and
Yeah, and
Italian from
Scorsese
Sicily.
should know that.
Yeah, a Sicilian is not going to be able to understand, not fully, a person from Venice because the dialect is so different. That's why there's what they call generic Italian. A generic Italian is almost like it would be like us in the United States using English from England to speak to somebody from Australia. You wouldn't use your dialect because that's how different it is. Okay. I mean, United States ain't that old and everything, but we do have some form of dialect, like down in the South, it's a little bit different than what you would speak in Washington State. We can right now today understand each other, but give it another 200-300 years, the language is going to further develop, and it'll get to a point where there'll be some words we wouldn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for Chinese. Chinese, there's many different dialects. Somebody from Shanghai isn't going to understand fully somebody from Western China. It's dialects. It evolved over thousands of years.
I know that because a few girls I went to school with who were originally from China mentioned that.
But I mean, like I said, when they're speaking,
that's why it's always funny when people
Sicilian, they should have stuck with the Sicilian when they're in Italy, not switch to the conversation to generic Italian, which they never would do. That type of conversation when they switch to generic Italian is, say somebody is from Venice and they're visiting or traveling or meeting people in Sicily and they want to communicate better, then they would switch to generic Italian. But when they're at home or they're in their own region, the language they're going to use is going to be Sicilian. And the ideal thought, it's hard to explain the ideal thought. A Sicilian is what we would consider a Texan. All right. Comparing that person to somebody from New York State. That's how the mentality is different from different regions. And Italy ain't the only one. I mean, you go to Germany, it's the same way. Bavarian is totally different from somebody up in Berlin.
I was going to say, thing about those who grew up in East Germany before the wall came down.
Yep. So, like I said, and seeing some things, like I said, back in the 50s or even late 40s and that era, yeah, Catholic, I don't care, Italian, Polish, or Irish, they're going to a hospital. They're going to a Catholic hospital. So not going to go to a general hospital, So that was kind of weird. And I find it kind of weird they showed a statue of the Blessed Virgin, but then they didn't have a crucifix or a rosary beads. But as soon as he goes home, what did they have above his bed? The crucifix. Because every Italian, I can tell you, has a crucifix in their home.
Oh yeah.
And yes, I will fight over the pasta, the spaghetti sauce deal all the time. No true Italian is going to use any tomato paste. Oh my God. No. No. I'll tell you a little secret. If you use real tomatoes, I don't care if you buy canned crushed tomatoes from the store like he was using, you won't. It's already thick. You don't need it to be super thick.
I was gonna say you don't need it to be any thicker than that.
No. The only time you would do that, and I'm going to be truthful, which is forbidden in my household or any of my family, is when you buy jar sauce and because it's not thick, it's almost watery. Then you need to add tomato paste to make it thick. My worst horror. I don't like seeing spaghetti sauce go beneath the spaghetti. And it's sitting at the bottom. Spaghetti sauce.
No. You don't put spaghetti sauce beneath the pasta.
It's almost sacrilegious.
No. I'm not Italian, but
you know the rules, man.
I know the rules. One, because my mom grew up in New York, she had Italian neighbors. My mom was Irish Catholic. Yeah. She understood how you're supposed to make it. Why? Because my grandmother was taught, and my grandmother taught her.
And that thing, like in New York, like I said, back in the day, and it wasn't just New York, it was all the cities in the Northeast. There's Little Italy. There's always an Irish section, a Polish section. people back in the day stuck to their own sections. This is before people moved out in the suburbs. And it was unheard of up until I would say in the 50s, maybe even 60s, that you would marry outside your race. Even though that other race, or Irish or Polish, might be Catholic, it wasn't until later, that you would see, okay, it's okay. You can marry that Irish girl. She's Catholic. It's okay. I know this because I'm full-blooded Italian, and I'm on my mother's side one of the first people to marry outside Italian. My dad's family was already here for a generation, so it's different on their end. But on my mom's side, yeah, I was first to marry. And I could tell you how deals were made. When you see that girl get married, and it was your father said no. Back then, even in the 50s and 60s, you could not marry without your father's approval. And most of the time, not all the time, but even at that time, I would say a good 70% of the time, your child, when it was baptized, was already set for marriage with somebody else. Okay, arrangements are made. Like when you seen Don Corleone with his daughter get married, he shouldn't have been up in the rooms. He's supposed to be out there for his daughter and everything. He's paying for the wedding. It's the father of the bride paying for the wedding, paying for all the services. The only thing the son-in-law is supposed to pay in his family is the alcohol, the drink. That's it. Maybe, and the flowers for the bridesmaids. That's it. Other than that, before they're even married, arrangements are made. And what I mean by arrangements, and it might sound archaic or ancient.
No, I understand what you're saying, but there are those who may be watching this now or on the replay who may not understand.
Mm-hmm. It's prearranged marriage. You sit down. The father says Mike has a daughter. I have a son, just been born. Well, maybe mine might be a year older than his. So Mike would sit down and say, since this is my daughter, get married to your son. Here's what her diary is going to be. I'm going to provide for them for a house. I'm going to provide for them, say, cattle or something for the farm if they're going to be farmers, whatever it was back in the day. And then the father of the son will say, okay, I'm going to provide them with a cash dowry. There might be like maybe $1,000, $2,000, which was a big deal back then. It might be all the linen they need for the house, including curtains, sheets, and all that, and furnishings. That's what I'm going to provide. And to get them going as a family, I'm going to rent a building in the neighboring town so he can open a bakery and be a baker if that was his profession. If he was a shoemaker, he might open a shoe shop. And that's the deals it made. And people might say, well, that's kind of archaic. It is.
But that's how it was done back then.
That's how it was done. But see, when in this case, when what's his name is in Italy hiding and wants to marry her, here's the thing they don't show. That father already promised that girl to be married. So let's say Cash is the person she was supposed to marry. Now compensation has to be done. And the compensation first, the father of the male, of the bride, the father there would say, okay, the son doesn't have a say. The father has a say. The patriarch of the family. If the father's gone, then it's the mother. But if the patriarch of the family says, okay, here's what we want for compensation, so we can say our deal is off. We want a financial compensation and maybe a couple other things along the way. I want a new car. I want $10,000 and yada, yada. And then that agreement for them to get married is done. That's how it was done back in the day. And eloping, yeah, the story of, Romeo and Juliet, it's nice. But 9 times out of 10, no priest is going to marry you. And if you go to the state, you're definitely going to get married to the state. But even back then, you get frowned upon. You're breaking family I don't want to call it family law, but let's say family tradition.
Yeah, I was going to say you're breaking
Mhm.
a long line of tradition if you
Mhm.
do it that way.
And to call that girl Greek, yeah, that's fighting words in Italian. Consider that the equivalent, our rivalry, and it's not a war type rivalry, but there's a rivalry between the Italians and the Greeks, equivalent to the Irish and the British. It's the same thing. To call an Irishman a Brit, it's fighting words. To call a Brit an Irishman, it's also fighting words.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're very similar. But, just point that out. See, I see it from a different lens than what people see it, because, I'm not Sicilian. I'm from another region of Italy, but it's very similar. It'd be somebody taking the livelihood or the way things are in the United States. You might not be from the mountains of Appalachia, but you understand it. Moonshine is big there, right? So everything you're thinking of suspenders, no t-shirt, no socks, corn pipe, and a big hat, and out in the woods they're making moonshine. Well, some of that might be true, but the majority of it is fairy tale and myth.
Mm-hmm.
You even hear today fairy tale. West Virginia is the poorest people in the world. You go to West Virginia. Them miners, even though I would never want to be a miner, but them coal miners make a lot of money.
Oh,
A lot of
yes, they
money.
do. Yes,
Well,
they
it's
do.
hard and
Because one of
dangerous
my
work.
neighbors,
So
one
yeah.
of my neighbors who moved here before he had to move back because of his wife's health reasons, and a lot of his family being in West Virginia, was a coal miner,
No. I mean,
and
when I
he
lived
made a
there,
lot of money. He did say it was a lot of hard work, a lot of strenuous work, but he did make a lot of money doing it.
I lived there for 3 years, and it was nothing like going to the store in Walmart and you see the guy covered from head to toe in soot. Covered.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine being under the ground doing it, but God bless them if they don't do it. No coal. Most of your electricity is run
Mm-hmm.
by coal, so there's no power in cities without coal. So if they're not doing it, you don't have power. But like I said, stereotypes run through everything. Even today. That's like I said, when you watch some movies, you know, well, I
You
won't
got to be able to separate fact from
the fact
fiction.
from fiction. And like I said, was there real pictures? We saw real pictures there of mob hits.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. They talk about 5 families. Now, the 5 families in this movie are made up, but there's actually 5 families uh, in New York City, and especially where when Italians first start coming over, mainly from the 1850s to the 1930s and 40s, there's the families are already set up. And the reason they're set up and how the Italian mob got there, Italian businessman wants to go in business, open a restaurant. He doesn't want somebody from the Irish section that has a restaurant come down, destroy his restaurant. So what would he do? Pay protection. And the Irish guy will pay protection. The Polish guy will pay protection. Today, everybody had their own little organized crime. People you don't really want to deal with. The one thing that I did like that the movie pointed out, the dark part, where it says, I'm going to do you this favor, but later on I'm going to come to you, and then you're going to have to repay that favor.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't speak for anybody else, but my family was always told, better not make deals with the devil because you don't want to have to pay the devil his due. Sometimes it's
Yep.
10 times worse than what you needed them to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there was corruption. Yes, a cop from one section might not be as honest and good as a cop from another section. You want to talk about corrupt cops? They ain't never seen corrupt cops. Not like it was back 80 years ago. New York City, Chicago, and all them. The cops were corrupt. The judges were corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
So
some would say that the judges are still corrupt.
yeah. Oh yeah. Like I
Well,
said, when you
yeah.
get that anonymous phone call, I mean, in today's world, or even back then, hey man, they're running some liquor. Remember there was prohibition for a time, and the mob made a lot of money not by bringing liquor from Canada, but having people down south making moonshine and taking it up to Chicago, New York, Baltimore, Philadelphia to the speakeasies. And that alcohol wasn't sometimes the best alcohol. And that's why you got a lot of
No.
mixed cocktails today. Like you would get a whiskey sour. The purpose of the whiskey sour is the orange juice is covering up that the bad quality of the taste of the moonshine wasn't that great that you can drink by itself.
Yeah, well, I think it was, but I'm not 100% sure. But in the movie Annie, when Miss Hannigan is drinking alcohol, I believe at one point you see that she's getting it out of the bathtub because that's how some people made their alcohol during
Yes.
Prohibition.
That is true.
You didn't have a place for a mill out in the country. You brew it in the bathtub. But a lot of times, people don't believe this. You're not getting good quality, and sometimes that quality can be contaminated, and you can go blind drinking that stuff.
Yeah.
But I can speak on it because I did have an uncle, as I mentioned, from West Virginia, made moonshine. And yeah, during Prohibition, he was making runs to Chicago, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Baltimore until he got caught. People have to make money somehow. So, but I know, like I said, this movie, there's some stuff I liked about it. I won't condemn it. But I know some Italians that will not watch this movie because they felt that it was being an eyesore for put down, not showing. My view on things is there's a good, bad of everybody, every nationality, every race. But some people think if you show bad side of one nationality, you're damaging their image. I'm like, you can't deny there was a mob, right?
No, you can't deny that there's even still a mob because they still exist.
Like I said, there's a whole town or city, you want to call it, Nevada that's built by them.
Yeah.
So corrupt.
Yeah, there's at least there was. I don't know if it's still there, but there was a mafia museum in Vegas. And part of it is dedicated to the mafia coming out to Vegas and building all the casinos and making a profit.
It wasn't, like I said, until like the last 30 years that you got all the studios come out and pretty much replace the mob with Hollywood, MGM Grand, Most of our, you and me probably remember the casinos at the Flamingo.
Yeah, no.
And that was famous, but that's nothing compared to what, like I said, MGM's big thing out there with the pyramid, and it's
That's Luxor. That's
sorry, yes, thank you. Yeah, but yeah, you ask yourself, man, like I said, for me, when you get the mob history and you talk about something like Las Vegas, you had to remember mob had deals with what's his name, the guy that disappeared, auto worker, union guy, Jimmy Hoffa. They were all cahoots in fixing and building that city. Like I said, Hoffa was involved in that. But the actual union people weren't, but their money was. Not that they took their money, they used the money as interest towards building that city. It would have been nice, but again, it's crime. Interest should have been paid because the union money was used. But that shows you how much money the union had and still has today. Teamsters, make good money. So
they do.
You have to remember the mafia, even when you were hearing at the time, they didn't want to really get into drugs, but money's there. You got to go get it. Then you had the one guy will say, let's try to be honorable. Let's not sell drugs at schools or to kids. Well, that's might have been the way at first, but we knew that's totally different in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can't have organized crime and have good intentions. There's nothing good that comes from it. Nothing. You know, and let's be honest, the hardest time the mafia ever had was that bad man from Italy. The Big M guy. He
Mm-hmm.
really destroyed the mob. And what happened? We used the mob in World War II to help get through Italy and Sicily. You know, just a little in context. That's all. But
Yeah, we had to. How else were we supposed to get in there?
and not only that, you need somebody to represent you to the natives, because let's be honest, in World War II, Italy was the enemy, but the Italian people were not. So how you going to win the people over? Well, okay, we'll use Italians to see. We're not going to just. They didn't do to Italy what they did to Germany and Japan. They got the soft hand. You know, I don't have no reasons to explain why. It's just the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, some of this stuff I can, because I'm close to Philly more than anything, and crime there was just as big, not as big as New York, but the hits. Somebody can be sitting down in a coffee rush, sitting down having coffee in a restaurant, and there's a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to think of the one guy in the '80s that got busted. It was big on the news, and he was known as the Teflon Don, Gambino. Like I said, I'm not one of them people who deny a mafia exists, but Hollywood sometimes portray it as glamorous, and don't want to portray it as glamorous. And if you watch, the only thing I give you credit about this movie, and even Godfather 2 and 3, you see there's a toll for doing business in there as a person and as a family.
Yeah.
It
affects everybody.
What can I say? But like I said, I mean, this is not the worst, There's other ones. The one Goodfellas. I watch that every once in a while, but that's a little bit different because you only got one full-blooded Italian. The rest are Italian Irish, and they're upset because they never can be made into what they would call a made man, because quote unquote you have to be full-blooded Italian. Okay, 60s, 70s, maybe even a little bit of the 80s, you might be able to find any. But I come from a full-blooded Italian family, and I can tell you, my nieces, my nephews, my own children, they're not full-blooded Italian. So ain't no made person coming out of this family.
Well, Phil,
Cash
I don't
Money
know
is still banned from that
back,
pizzeria,
but
Mike.
I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, brother.
It's cool. Thank you for having me on. Even
Oh,
though Cash Money is still banned from that pizzeria, you'll learn not to go in there talking Godfather when you want to get a pizza. That don't happen.
Yeah.
He went to sleep on us, believe it or not.
Probably went out to get us kale. I since Barrett isn't here, I got to fill in that quota.
There you
he
go.
went to Whole Foods, got his kale. Now he's headed back.
He'll come back 2 seconds later after we're all. I had to get.
What are you goobers talking about?
Mm.
Oh, nothing at all.
Well, but thank you for having me on. It was fun.
Not a problem. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate Tim watching it over on Cosby, and Lady Miss stopped by and watched it over on Cosby. So thank you both for stopping by. Speaking of Tim, he did come by the YouTube side, as did DJ Play Nice. Good to see you. Leia Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, DJ Ronnie G.
I just got back.
Yeah, we're getting ready to wrap it up here, brother.
I figured, yeah.
So if you have anything you want to promote, go ahead and promote?
Well, we've got Ghostbusters coming up in a few days, so there shouldn't be any power problems. So we should be able to bust some ghosts and have some fun, and yeah, and that'll be at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, there won't be any technical issues or anything like that. So that's good. Hopefully, and
Let's
then
go, Team Epic
Fingers
Fail.
crossed, right?
yeah. What was that? Yeah, I thought I heard a voice there, Mike. I don't think
You
I heard.
heard me do my
Yeah,
shenanigans.
I heard the shenanigans, of course.
Mm.
And then I'm just about finished with my Deadpool video, so not quite finished, but just about done with that. So that'll be released either today or definitely before the weekend. So yeah,
Nice. Very nice.
that's all. That's all right now. There might be Saturday. There's a potential live stream and if there is a live stream again, it's going to go for a while. So yeah, I'm just
what's your
deciding.
plan?
I'm just deciding what I'm going to do with that. I'm either going to start playing finally Persona 5 Royal or something else. But all gaming streams will usually go. I can't usually do one gaming stream for like 2 hours, unless maybe it's like a challenge thing. But if it's a game that I'm just starting out, it's going to go at least 5 or 6 hours, something like that. So,
Nice.
on the Phantom Hooligans, yes.
Yes, over on
I
the
can't
Phantom
wait for like
Hooligans.
solo games.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to do one tomorrow. But unfortunately, last night my ISP was acting a little funky, and
Yeah.
I'd seen that it was acting a little funky before I even hit the go live button. But I thought, okay, I'm gonna take a chance. Maybe it'll work itself out. But unfortunately, it didn't because the stream on the YouTube side ended, and the stream on the Rumble side was still going. But it's like, no, I wanted to stream on both platforms at the same time. I don't want to have the stream on one platform versus the other because that's not how I scheduled it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just ended up ending that stream, and I'll just try it again, probably next Thursday, because what I'm thinking right now is playing Arkham City tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Rumble, and then doing it again on Tuesday on YouTube and Rumble, and then Metroid Prime Remastered next Thursday. That's what I'm thinking right now. That could change.
So you're gonna play some Arkham, not on easy mode.
Oh no, I'm playing it on normal.
Dude, nobody else in this group besides a certain person that you can do what you want, but nobody plays on easy mode, Phil. That's a blasphemy to
If
us.
someone wants to play on easy
That's
mode,
right.
I know we've made jokes about it, but if someone wants to play on easy mode, let them. They're not doing any harm to anybody.
They're not harming anybody. I always feel they should push themselves a bit, but it's okay.
Yeah, I feel like we should all push ourselves, but
yes,
we're all different people.
That's right.
I'm special, like that special little snowflake.
But again, I do appreciate everybody who came by and joined us for the watch party. If you joined and you didn't sign into Cosme, that's fine. I believe that's another way you can do it on Cosme. You don't even have to sign in. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But again, thank you all. And just as another reminder, this will be our watch party on September 8th.
I've done far worse than kill you. I've hurt you. And I wish to go on hurting you. I shall leave you as you left me. Marooned for all eternity. Buried alive. Buried alive. Caan!
So until next time, everybody, have yourselves a great night. Remember, don't ever give up on me in a game, because just when you do, you might miss something. And consider subscribing to Cash Money, Baron Norman Tag, Phil McCracken here. As a matter of fact, before we leave, let's go get your link. This way people can actually subscribe to your channel. I know you haven't planned anything, but still.
Maybe in a couple months when I'm feeling up to it, where I can actually put some time in.
Good.
But then again, I have to deal with cash money, and that's kind of hard right there.
I have to deal with Phil, man.
That's a headache in itself.
Yeah, sure, Mike. Sure. Don't enable him again.
I don't have to enable Phil. Phil does it on his own.
Yeah, but you're gonna
like
help.
Energizer Bunny Cash.
Give
me the phone number to that local pizzeria you got there from.
I can always hide from Phil. He won't find me. It's all right.
Oh, I find you every time.
But thank you again, all. Hope you have yourselves a great rest of your Wednesday, or depending on where you live, it could also already be Thursday for you. And we will see you all later.
Arrivederci.
Bye-bye.
Autobots, transform and roll out.